Okay. I was just trying to do this and I wasn't getting good lighting. So I think this is a little bit better. And so I want to talk today, oops, sorry about that. I want to talk today about making the heart-to-heart connection on a high-ticket sales call. Now, here's the interesting thing. And I decided that I would actually come on here and speak to you today from my heart because I actually had prepared a training for this. And I took a whole bunch of notes and I wrote this while I was on an airplane. And it was really inspired and I thought I did an amazing job and I had, a whole bunch of great notes for you. And when I got off the plane, I left my notebook in the seat pocket in front of me and never to be found again. So all of the notes that I had for this heart-to-heart conversation were gone. So then I decided that that was okay. I would do it anyway. I was in North Carolina and they were having super high winds and the remnants of this hurricane that just went through there, Hurricane Michael. And so the day that I was going to do this training, and I had made some more notes, but a little bit less detailed, it turned out that I was in a hotel and the internet kept going out. So it was super windy and I wasn't able to actually broadcast. So I really know that there were a few people who were waiting for this. And so anyway, I'm back in Florida and it's a beautiful Friday afternoon here. It's probably about 90 degrees. I'm sitting out on my lanai trying to get out of the blazing sun. I think it's, I don't know, let's see. Well, according to my thermometer over there, which you can't see, it's almost 90 degrees. So it's gorgeous and there is a nice breeze. And luckily, nobody's mowing their lawn, which is what usually happens to me when I come out here to try to record something. So let's talk a little bit about making a heart-to-heart connection and how I really got good at this. So it started that I think a lot of you know, and for those of you who don't know me and you just decided to pop on here when I did this impromptu live session, my name is Janet Clark, and I am the CEO of a company called The Freedom Shift. And primarily what I do is I match up professional salespeople with coaches and consultants who sell transformational programs, who offer transformational programs. And those could be in all sorts of different areas. And what I've learned is that, when you're in the corporate world, and you're selling in the B2B space, it's fun. I did it for many years and I enjoyed it. But there comes a point, at least it did for me, where I started to feel like it wasn't really impacting anybody's life in a positive way. It wasn't really fulfilling me. And once I learned how to sell and I knew the kind of the process, the sales process, I could apply that to anything that I really liked and believed in and wanted to sell. So when I was in the corporate world and I was selling technology solutions, all kinds of high-tech things, managed services, it wasn't that I didn't believe in the programs that I sold or think that they were actually enhancing businesses. It was just that I knew that I wasn't really making an impact in the world on people. I wasn't necessarily making the world a better place. So one of the things that I love about what I do now is that I work with entrepreneurs. And I believe that a lot of entrepreneurs who become coaches and consultants do it because they have these gifts and these talents that they want to share. And so when they step up and out into actually monetizing that and turning that into a business, they fulfill a big purpose, not only to make the world a better place, but to share their real gifts with the world. So let me tell you a little bit of the background of how I got into doing this. see, there were key things that made me good at sales. And so there isn't necessarily a personality trait or type that makes somebody good at sales, but there are certain characteristics of a really good salesperson. And I learned those over the years. So one of them was confidence, obviously, being able to feel good that I actually could help people get to a decision. The next thing is what I call conviction, but in the case of my corporate world, it was really product knowledge, being really comfortable with what I was selling and having the conviction that it was a good solution for the prospect that I was presenting it to. And then, you know, my reputation was good, so it was easy for me to make the connection with people because I did have a good reputation in my field. And so there was some level of respect there that people had for me, which was helpful. So I think that's an important thing to consider as well as you are embarking, you know, on entrepreneurship, that it's still important, just like in the corporate world, to establish yourself as preeminent and get yourself known as somebody in your field that has a good, solid reputation. And I was good at the sales process. So I'm a student. I've always been a student, and I've taken just about every sales training and course out there, and I continue to perfect my skills. So those were things that were transferable, but in the corporate world they worked for me, and then I was able to transfer that quest for knowledge, that thirst for continually improving my skill set. And, you know, I understand the psychology of sales. I understand that there's a science to the sales process, and also that there's a psychological process that somebody goes through when they're making a buying decision. So these are all the things that I had established over the course of my corporate life that made me what I would say a good salesperson. But what happened is that I got to a point, as I mentioned earlier, where I realized that what I was selling actually mattered. And I really wanted to do something that was going to be more impactful and that was really going to tap into what was almost a higher purpose for me. And I also was pretty sick of the whole corporate regime, right? The whole way that, I hate to say this, but you know, you make a sale, you put your heart and soul into it, you get the order all done, you do all the paperwork, which a lot of you, if you are in corporate and you're listening to this, you know what I'm talking about, and then you turn it into somebody, and you know, they're supposed to actually get the order through the system and deliver the solution for the client. And I used to call it the order prevention department, because invariably they would find some reason why, you know, the order was going to be rejected. And it was just really stressful. And I really felt like, you know, the whole corporate thing was just getting to be a lot of red tape and not necessarily making me feel that I was, had that sense of accomplishment, fulfillment, and well-being. So I got kind of at a place in my life where I was lost a little bit. I wasn't sure what was going on. Now, I'm taking you back a little bit here, probably about 15 years. And I decided that I really wasn't happy, or I found out I really wasn't happy with the, even though I had my own business at that point, so I was still doing this B2B sales, and I had built up a sales agency, but I was still processing my orders through corporate, and I was selling business solutions to other businesses. And I had a very lucrative six-figure business, which had recurring income. So by, you know, from all aspects, it looked like I should be really happy with that. And, you know, my children were grown, and I had a great lifestyle. I was living at the beach, and which was always one of my life dreams, and doing a lot of traveling, and just having the freedom to, you know, do whatever I wanted, really. but yet my work wasn't feeling meaningful. And that was the piece of me that was starting to make me feel a little bit depressed and lost. And I can remember actually how the transition started to happen for me, because I had that feeling of discontent in my life. And I remember thinking, like, what else do I need? What else is out there? What's going to make me feel happy? And, you know, was it another glass of wine, or was it another cruise, or, you know, did I need to spend more time at the beach, or, you know, what was it going to be? Did I need to buy something else? And yet none of those things were really feeling like they were giving me that sense of true oneness that I wanted with my, I guess, my soul, you would almost say. So there was a disconnect, and it was really important, I guess, at that point, that I started to discover something deeper that would allow me to take my own strengths and talents and find a way to do something in the world that was going to make other people's lives better. And, you know, some people would say, well, I could have done some volunteer work. But here's the thing. I mean, my whole background was business. I had spent many years in the corporate world, so I knew business, and I knew sales. And so it was a question of, how can I take these things that I've spent my whole life developing and getting good at, and actually use those to do something right and good in the world. And to kind of speed up the story a little bit, it ended up that I heard an advertisement on the radio when I was driving in my car one day, talking about a program called Positive Changes Hypnosis. Now, I had never done anything with hypnosis. I've seen, you know, people up on the stage doing things, and to me it was kind of woo-woo weird. But I loved the concept of positive change. So it intrigued me a little bit, and I decided to sign up for that program. So it was actually someplace where I went, and they would put headphones on you, and, you know, you'd have these lights that were going across you that were, I don't know what they were doing. They were changing your frequency of your brain or something. But anyway, I was listening to all of these positive affirmations and suggestions that were being put into my head about the possibilities from my life. So what happened because of the hypnosis was that I started to feel better. I started to lose some weight. I actually decided that I wasn't going to drink alcohol anymore, because I had kind of gotten in the habit of drinking a lot of wine at night, and that was kind of like, you know, a release or an escape. So I gave up all of that drinking, and that kind of led me to a 12-step program. And again, this is a long story, so I'm trying to shorten it up a little bit. But anyway, in the 12-step program, I was introduced to this concept of really connecting in with the, well, number one, my higher power, and also what I call my essential self. Like, who was I really, and what did I really want to do in the world? You know, what kind of a legacy did I really want to leave? And how could I impact people in a much greater way? And so that kind of got me onto a spiritual journey of, I got a couple little notes here. I want to make sure I stay on track. Yeah, so anyway, I got onto this new path of, you know, trying to be more fulfilled and trying to figure out what is it that I should be doing with my life. And that led me to realize that it wasn't this B2B sales that was going to allow me to kind of get this sense of being together with body, mind, heart, and soul. So that's really what I believe is the basis for being able to make a heart-to-heart connection with somebody in a high-ticket sales environment. So if you're selling something that isn't life transformational, that isn't something that people are stepping up to a new version of themselves, then I don't know how this would actually apply to you. But for those of you who are coaches, consultants, and service providers who are offering people a life-enhancing solution, or if you're selling a program for somebody else that is changing their lives and making their lives better in a positive way, then the heart-to-heart connection is going to start with you working on you. So the number one thing is getting in alignment yourself with who you are, what you really want out of your life, and what your gifts are, and how you can take those gifts and share them with somebody else in a meaningful way. And again, it's perfectly great to be able to make a lot of money doing that, right? So abundance comes not only from the feeling of worth and accomplishment and being able to help other people, but this abundance of wealth and health and, you know, positive mindset and feeling good all come into the equation. So that's really what I love about being in this world of selling high value, high transformation, high ticket programs. So number one for making the heart to heart connection is to get in touch with yourself and really build up that feeling of worth, self-worth, and knowing why you're here. The next big thing is to really be able to share who you are with other people. And that willingness to do that is something that a lot of people don't have. So, you know, a lot of people kind of put up the veil. But when I talk about heart flow, which is the conversation between the salesperson and the prospect, the word flow is one of the key elements of it. And what that really means is that, you know, I have an energy field around me. And when I sit down with you and have a conversation, I want my positive energy to rub off on you. And I want to be able to help you to bring out the positive energy within you as well. So a lot of salespeople go after the pain, the pain, the pain, right? And there's nothing wrong with connecting in with the people's pain, because that's kind of where, you know, meet them where they are. And so you certainly do want to understand where they're coming from and what their struggle is at that point. But more importantly is to be able to give them that hope and to help them with the vision for what's possible for them, what they really want as the next step for them. And the only way to really get people to open up and to let you in to, you know, their big dreams and what's in the way, what they've already tried, what's working, what isn't working, where they, you know, feel compelled to keep pushing forward. You really want to know that. So I've talked about that in other trainings, right? When somebody tells you their why, it's always at least 3 layers below what they tell you it is. So how are you going to actually get that person to open up to you? And I just had this experience yesterday where I was talking with somebody, and on the surface he was explaining to me all the reasons why he wanted, you know, the program that we were discussing. But it wasn't until I opened up more to him and I was able to connect with him on a different level that he was able to tell me the real reason why he wanted to go make a lot of money and, you know, take his step into a higher version of himself. And there were actually 2 really big reasons. One, which was just below the surface, was about his parents and wanting to be able to help his parents to retire because they had been working so hard and struggling for so many years. And he saw a path that he could take that would really be helpful for them. And then he got even deeper, and it was really had to do with being on the cutting edge of the next level of cure for cancer and a personal experience that he had that really made that a mission for him. So it's very hard sometimes to get people to get that deep. You know, you may be talking to them for an hour or less, and most people just don't blurt that stuff out. So part of it is coming with a good sense of yourself, being really real about who you are, honestly and openly sharing with people so that they have that comfort zone to be able to do that with you. And a lot of that doesn't happen because of something you learned. It happens just because of you being so comfortable in your own skin, getting comfortable enough with yourself and who you are, and truly being curious and caring about this person who you're working with. So for a lot of people, when they talk to me about sales, you know, they're talking about the commissions and they're talking about how much money they're going to be make and how they're going to figure it out, how to overcome objections. And I just did a training about that recently. But you know, it's so much more than that. It's really being able to stand in the fire with somebody, get to their deepest longing, their deepest fear, and their deepest desire for their life, and helping them to bridge the gap. Like, this is where I am now, this is where I want to be. Let's figure out how to build this bridge to get you there. And surround you with hope and inspiration and possibility. Because, you know, the last thing you want when you talk to somebody on a phone call is for them to get off the phone and feel like they were manipulated into, you know, paying the money. Or, you know, have that feeling like, oh my God, what did I just do? Why did I do that? What you want them to do is to feel like, yes, this is exactly what I needed. I am so excited. I can't wait to get started with this, right? So that's a totally different feeling that people get when you do this heart flow process on a sales call. Okay, so I've kind of been all over the world here, and I want to bring this back into some sort of a process. So first I said we have to get into our essential self. We have to get good with who we are. We have to understand what motivates us and what we're trying to accomplish in life. The second thing that we really want to do is we want to exude the energy, and we want to share our energy, and we want to be able to empower others to bring out their positive energy while we're on the sales call. Now, we do a lot of work with this in the High Ticket Sales Alliance, so I work a lot with people on mindset and the way they think, and I teach people how to use things like the morning manifesto and different types of the way that they, you know, the thoughts that they allow into their mind, the books that they read, the people they hang around with, the community that influences you. So all of these things are what's going to really give you the right energy surrounding you. And finally, is this curiosity and caring for other people. So your motivation is more to, as Stephen Covey would say, seek first to understand and then to be understood, is to really have that deep curiosity about what this person, where this person is. And that requires asking really deep, good questions. And a lot of people don't know, I mean, they stop at the surface questions. They don't dig underneath. So again, that's part of what I train in my Heart Flow sales conversation, is how to do that. And so I think the most important thing is to think about is that when you think about your heart, you think about what you love. And the things that are so important in making the heart flow connection are that, number one, you have to love yourself. You just do. Okay? Number two, you have to love other people and really want to see these people get to a better place and get happier and feel more content. You have to love what you're selling. You have to totally believe that this program is transformational and that it is going to have a huge impact on people, right? You have to love how you feel when you're on a sales call and love how you feel when somebody takes that step and makes that leap into fulfilling their own inner desires and purpose and solving whatever is in their way. And you really have to just love learning, right? Love continuous improvement. One of the things that I shared recently with someone is that I have a tendency to put myself into situations where I'm, into groups of people where I'm actually the dumbest person in the room. And I've been doing that for a long time, but particularly in the last few years with the Freedom Shift. So I join these masterminds where people are like way ahead of me in business. And I joined just recently, I've been in a spiritual community for a while, but recently I went into ministry where I'm like the least capable minister, right? The person who knows the least about any of the, the real work of doing this ministry. But I do it because the whole process of learning is that we're first totally unconscious, and because we're unconscious about it, we're incompetent. And the next thing is we become conscious, right? That's what I have to learn. Wow, that's a lot, right? You get that feeling, but now you're conscious of what you still need to learn, even though you're a little incompetent to be able to actually do it. And then we take it to the next step, where we become conscious and competent. Or no, I got to get this right. Yes, we're conscious and we're competent. So we're working, we know what we need to do, and we're able to do it because we know the steps and we know how to apply it, and we've taken the courses and we've practiced. Until finally it becomes second nature, right? That's where we become unconsciously competent. So anyway, I love that. I learned that many years ago in my corporate life, and it's always held true, and I certainly felt it recently when I was ordained into ministry, because I realized that I was in this class, a retreat, for 3 days with people who were like 4 years ahead of me, and the things that they were practicing and being able to do as ministers were like really kind of over my head, So that was good, because it opened me up to what my potential is, what my possibilities are. So anyway, that's me speaking from the heart. I don't have a watch on. I can't see what time it is. I've probably gone way over on this. But the point is that I really wanted to come on here and just say from my heart to your heart that when you find the work that makes you feel fulfilled, that like makes you feel passionate, that is even a little bit of a stretch for you, but is something that you love getting up every day and doing, and you then can share that enthusiasm and positive energy with the people who you are talking with on the phone and helping to move along, then you can make a heart-to-heart connection with those people, and you are going to be much more successful in personally as well as financially and in all aspects of your life. So for those of you who have tuned in, yes, I am Linda. I am here in sunny and warm Florida, and I'm happy to be back. I was in Denver and it was snowing, and I was in North Carolina and there was a hurricane. So anyway, it's nice here right now. So hi, Cammie. So that's it for today. That's what I have to tell you about Heart to Heart, and I'm always available. I'd love to chat with you if you want to book a time to speak with me. It's www.meetme.so, S as in Sam, O, /freedom shift, or just ping me on Messenger or somewhere, send me an email, do whatever. I'm always available. All right, nice seeing you guys out there, and we'll be back in touch. Don't forget, Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, I am on here every single Thursday to talk more about different aspects of selling high-ticket programs. All right, so bye for now.